What about, there's a lot of talk about UFOs in the news today.
Yes.
And there seems to be two camps, maybe three camps. There's the camp where people think it's, military industrial complex type companies that have some type of technology that nobody else has access to. There's the camp that thinks that they're actually extraterrestrials. And then there is a camp that's probably growing faster than any of the other ones, which people believe these are some type of spiritual, maybe demonic type of entity. And I've talked to a lot of people about this stuff. Ezekiel gets brought up a lot of times. What do you think is going on with this UFO type stuff? Is it demonic?
I do think that there are countries with advanced military projects that probably could replicate things in the sky that we don't understand. That's for sure. I mean, we know Russia has missiles that we are not caught up on. Hypersonic stuff that, can get, I think it's 20,000 miles an hour or something. That's going to look different in the sky than a plane. But with regard to extraterrestrial beings, so creatures that have an intelligence and a will, there's not a big argument for that in the Bible. When God created everything, everything means everything. So to have a creature that has an intellect and a will would put them on the level of man, because we're the only ones who have an intellect and a will that are created. What do I mean by that? So we have an intelligence that can make deductions and come to conclusions that no other species can do. Dogs can learn something by habit, but they're not deducing, well, if I move the dog bowl 3 feet to the left in the morning, maybe they'll put more food in it. They're not thinking like that. They're just going by habit. But if there's a created being out there that is not talked about in the scriptures, that would be bizarre that God would leave that out for whatever, who knows what reason. And in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, it makes a clear and definitive statement that only man is a creature that was endowed with this ability to know God and choose him of the created order. The angels would be in the same boat, but they don't have material bodies. So once you say that, it rules out all other life forms that would have an intelligence. Sure, there can be bacteria on the moon or something that can grow, but it's not thinking about growing, nor is it trying to take over the moon. So there's a difference there. That's my opinion. But they can inhabit life forms and look like creatures.
Do you think some of these orbs are some type of spiritual entity?
Could be. I mean, think about this. What would be the greatest hoax in the history of the world? And we've been building it up for 60, 70 years with the Star Wars.
False flag alien invasion.
Star Trek, all this stuff. And then finally one day, the president gets on TV and says, we're about to come clean. There is another life form that we have to introduce you to. Here it is. And they can speak English and communicate, and they look weird. And they have higher intelligence. Of course they will. They're demonic. And they say, we've come from another galaxy to let you know that you're getting off course and you need to make some adjustments if you want your world to survive. And here's your big problem. Like, we're going to give you some technology to show you that you can have clean energy with all the bells and whistles. Oh, great, let's have that. And then they drop this in. And by the way, there's many other ways to God, not just in the religions that you know. And that's the big sinker, where it gets everybody off. They're all untethered from God now. You don't have to do this. Just be kind to one another. You don't have to worship God. That's created more wars in your world than all the good works you could possibly do. Stop doing that. Well, the higher life form just told us we shouldn't do it. And they're clearly ahead of us, so we better listen to them. Like, people would go for it hook, line, and sinker because they're not tethered to the one true God. They're not getting their face in the Bible every day, studying the scriptures and learning what he really said and what is the only way to eternal life. Jesus said, I am the way, not a way. So once you call God a liar, then I can't relate to you anymore. We're not going to have a discussion.
Do you think any of these entities could be for good?
If they're demonic, no. They only have one goal, and that's they can't hurt God anymore. They could hurt Jesus in the person when he walked the planet, but he's untouchable now. So the only way they get back at us or back at God is by hurting his children. That's their only mission. You know, in the 12th book of Revelation, it says, the devil went off to make war against the woman and her offspring, those who follow the laws of God and bear testimony to Jesus Christ. That's a very small population of the planet. Even among Christians, you know, as we've discussed, not everybody's following God's will, and not everybody's giving a testimony to Jesus.